We can say that there are generally two types of immunity in our body, the innate immunity and acquired immunity.
Does innate refer to the barriers and acquired refer to the cells?
Aha! That's where many students have this misconception. Innate immunity actually refers to non-specific defense mechanisms. Besides our physical and chemical barriers, we also have immune cells that are non-specific.
Such as phagocytes?
That's right. For this syllabus, we are going to concentrate our discussion on two types of phagocytes, mainly macrophages and neutrophils.
Ooh, I see. I remember touching very briefly about this in my previous levels. So what about acquired immunity? I guess it's specific?
You're absolutely correct. Acquired immunity, or sometimes also known as adaptive immunity, refers to specific defense mechanisms. The cells responsible for this are lymphocytes.
That's interesting.
So, in general, the cells of the immune system originate from the bone marrow. All of the blood cells in our body originate from the bone marrow from a stem cell called the hemocytoblast. This stem cell will differentiate into the blood cells, which are platelets, red blood cells, and white blood cells.
Do I need to know their precursors and what they differentiate into?
Not to worry, you won't be asked on the specifics of cell differentiation. Instead, you'll be tested on the mechanisms of the cells and their roles in an immune response. Let's start off with a term that you should be familiar with, antigen.
Ah, yes. Antigen is a substance that can trigger an immune response in the body. They can be found on the surfaces of the cells. Antibodies secreted by the lymphocytes will bind to the antigens, disabling it.
That's right. We will cover in depth about antibodies again in the next lesson. Now, let us explore different types of antigens, mainly the self-antigens and the non-self antigens.
Are self-antigens something that our body has?
You're right. Self-antigens refer to antigens produced by our own body. These self-antigens are not recognized as foreign by our body and do not trigger any immune response. As for non-self antigens, they are antigens that are recognized by our body as foreign and will trigger an immune response. Can you think of any examples? Here's a hint. It is something that many people donate from their body, and losing too much can cause death.
Blood. Now I remember. The ABO blood type.
That's right. The blood type is one of the good examples to explain self and non-self antigens.
Now I remember. If you are blood type A, this means you have the A antigens on your red blood cells. In this case, the A antigens are an example of the self-antigens. And if you are given blood type B during blood transfusion, your body will recognize the B antigens from the donor's red blood cell as foreign. This will trigger an immune response which can lead to complications. Here, the B antigens are an example of the non-self antigens.
Nicely explained. This also applies to many other situations such as organ transplants. It is important to ensure that the antigens are compatible with the recipient to reduce the chances of organ rejection.
I guess organ transplant isn't that simple after all.
Of course not.